Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. I am your host, Anthony A. D. Walker. I appreciate you guys rocking with us and hanging with us this morning. Um, and thank you for being here. You could have been anywhere, but you're here in this space, and I appreciate you. Um, 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 um. All of my podcast people, I appreciate you guys as well. Yes, I had a serious podcast dump. So if you've seen a lot of podcasts happen in such a small space of time, be not alarmed. Just catching up on some of the podcasts, I realized I missed one or two for various reasons. But I appreciate you guys rocking and hanging with us. And if it's your first time here, I appreciate you as well. And if you're watching this on replay, put hashtag replay, as well as make sure you share, tag somebody as we get into this conversation. Um, this one's a little bit more than what we had yesterday. Yesterday, we talked about preparing our kids for success. Today, we're going to deal with the challenge of dealing with being when our children are taught something different than what we teach at home, something they're told or something contrary to what we practice at home. How do we deal with that? How do you combat that? How do you make sure that they don't have the wrong idea or ideals that will keep them from, that will basically create in them something that you don't want to see in them, if that makes sense. So we're going to dig into that. And this is going to be a great, oh, look at that. It's going to be a great show. Man. Let's see. All right. So listen, stay tuned. Stay tuned. We're going to have a good show. It may just be me today. But I got a lot to share on this. Let's take this. Let's do this. All right, let's do that. Bam. Bam, 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 bam. All right. So yeah, I appreciate you guys being here, rocking with us. Like I said, so make sure you share. Make sure you inbox anybody and everybody on your friends list as we dig into this conversation and talk about many things concerning this. So are your kids being taught something different than what's taught at home? Specifically, we're talking about school, but yes, we're probably going to dig into households and things like that. And how do we deal with that? How do you handle that? How do you make sure, how do you protect the mind of your children while not causing them to reject those with different ideas? How do we protect the mind of our children while keeping them from rejecting those with different ideas? All right, so we're going to dig all into that today on the Brothers of Legacy. Like I said, we are about changing our community one conversation at a time because we're all around people that we don't necessarily agree with. Blessings, Lisa. Thank you for rocking with us. But how do we teach our children to hold on to the ideas and ideals that we teach, the ones that are right for our kids and what we've hold true, but being able to interact with those that think differently. I know even as adults you struggle with that, but we have to teach our children to do better. That's how our society gets better, when we could be around those that think differently. All right. Thank you for sharing always. And make sure you follow Lisa's example and share. Sharing is caring. And we're going to dig into this conversation. And also, as you can see, join our community. Text LW into 84576. Text LW into 84576 and never miss an episode of the Brothers of Legacy. Always be a part. Get in this game as we proceed on and do some amazing work in our community. I want you guys to know, especially if you're in the Georgia area, there's some local stuff that I'm working on that I want you guys to be a part of. So definitely be a part of this community. Text LW into 84576. Text LW into 84576 and never miss an episode of anything that happens on the Legacy Walker Network, Purpose for Forever, Sisters of Legacy, and the Brothers of Legacy, and all associated programs that we are connected to. You'll get notifications when they come on. So make sure you stay connected, stay connected, stay connected. And all right, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to dig into this today. And make sure you share, comment. We want to have a great conversation because I know it's on a lot of people's minds, and this happens. If you have kids, it's happened before. It's happened. It's happened. They come home with a thought or a process or something, and you're like, let me sit you down there. Obviously, we didn't talk about this. Or they come home with something you've already spoken about, and they come home with a contrary view that they received from school. And it's always an interesting conversation. All right. So hold on, hold tight, and we'll be right back. I didn't want to catch that.
Morning. Good morning.
Welcome to another edition of
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Everybody.
All right. Welcome back. Hold on one tight. This episode is brought to you by StreamYard. Ready to go live? Go to bit.ly/StreamYard BOL. That's bit.ly/StreamYard BOL. This episode is also brought to you by Self. Build credit now. Go to bit.ly/now build credit. bit.ly/now build credit. All right. Welcome back. All right. Let's see. So yes, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being in the building. Let's do this. Let's do that. And yes. All right. Oh, Pastor's in the building. Great morning to you, sir. Happy
Good morning.
Tuesday. Good morning. Good morning.
Happy Tuesday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Morning, Lisa.
Gang's almost all here. So, like again, make sure you share. Sharing is caring. Connect with somebody. Inbox. And if you've not liked the Brothers of Legacy Facebook page, make sure you do so. Like, love, and I don't even know what I'm gonna say. But yeah, just definitely like the page. Be a part of our Facebook page and make sure you are connected to us. Like again, join our community. Text LW into 84576. Text LW into 84576. All right. So, Pastor.
Yes, sir.
Today we're talking about, are your kids being taught something different than what's taught in your home? And basically this is in the vein of going back to school. And, teachers come from different backgrounds. They don't just teach what's in the textbook. Of course, they have ideas, ideals, political thoughts.
CRT, critical race theory.
Yeah, that too. and have opinions. They have opinions about things. And that's fine because we're human. But it becomes something different. Greetings. Hey, Mom McCory. Hey, Lady McCory. The McCorys
Lovely.
in the building. So what do you do? And sometimes during the course of a school year, they share their opinion based on what they may be teaching, especially if it's something like social studies or history. Their opinion kind of slides out, whether they agree with something or disagree with something or not like the current political climate. What do you do when they come home with a different view or or you already put something in them and they come home and say, my teacher said, because the unfortunate part is, of course, that the teacher is an authority figure in their life, because you kind of train them. Hey, the teacher's teaching you. They know what they're talking about, but it's like, in this subject, listen to them. Outside of that, that's up for debate. So, what do you do when they come home with a different, I won't say way of thinking, but a different opinion, because they hear it, especially if it's something you put in them, that you've said to them either once, twice. They come home like, ooh, daddy said something different. Let me see what he thinks. So what do you do when things like that happen? Hey, Keita. Good morning, Deborah.
I listen and communicate.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
We talked about that yesterday.
Mhm.
you have to give children room to express themselves, and then you have an opportunity to respond to what and how they're expressing themselves.
Right.
Right. I found out that if you talk to them long enough, they will talk themselves out of what they were talking themselves into.
Okay. Right.
Because you have to make it make sense.
Right.
Right. Give them an opportunity to really consider. I tell people all the time, what I've learned is I'll listen to what you're saying, and then I'm going to give you back what you just gave to me and see if it makes sense to you.
Right. Yes.
That's why we have to really listen.
Right.
We've been there where they button us, lady, when our daughters were in elementary and middle school. Yeah. Right. Yeah. You have to hear them out.
Right.
Yeah. You got to let them get it out, as ridiculous as it may sound.
Right.
But let them get it out, and then play it back to them to make sure you got it.
Right.
And see if it makes sense to them. See if what they said makes sense when they hear it.
Right.
Because sometimes it sounds one way when you say it.
Right.
It sounds another way when you hear it.
Right.
That's why I say, a lot of times people can hear themselves talking, but they don't know how they sound.
Right. Yeah. Right. True.
And you have to do that. You have to do that with children.
Hey,
you have to do that with grown folks.
Right.
But children are going to be curious. They're going to be impressionable.
Yes.
And so, they look to their teachers as leaders. They look to their teachers as heroes. They look to their teachers as, voices of reason. So it stands to reason that they're going to take what they say to heart and bring it home, especially if it contradicts something.
Yes.
That you have said, because children love to come home to tell their parents you was wrong.
You was wrong.
Not
holding that all day, like, ooh, it's going down when I get home.
Yeah. You ever had your child come home and be like, Dad, Mom, if you were, they put you in a situation and see how you're going to respond.
Right.
Just to see if your response is going to be the same as how the teacher expressed it. Like, man, if you're going to get away from here with that nonsense.
Right. Right. It's funny because, during the Trump years, the teachers were pretty in our area, but like kind of anti-Trump. And my kids had opinions about it, like how they based on what the teachers were saying. And then I was like, and as much as I was like, what's wrong?
I'm sorry, y'all. Simone Biles just withdrew.
Yes, she withdrew. I was trying to find out why. I know. I was trying to. A medical staffer took out. I don't know if anybody know any information. Breaking news, guys.
A medical issue, it says.
Yeah, that's all I got too. So I was waiting for more information to come out. Yeah, I know.
Okay, sorry. I just listen, my daughter just sent me that, man.
I got you. Yeah. I was waiting for more info. I'm kind of hurt too. Like, oh, she is like the best of the best of the best ever. Like, and she withdrew. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it was COVID. I don't know. They not said, like I said, the medical staffer took her out. of the gym. I think at that time she was supposed to go up. Yeah, that's hurtful. That's hurtful.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah. So like I said, the political climate, and there was a lot of like anti-Trump stuff they were saying. But I was trying to get clarity conversation. Like,
Yeah.
I know you heard he's a racist, but do you know why? Like I get how you're feeling and what you hear. And then I'm thinking in my head, I was like, this. I don't know if they should be talking because then you got the pro-Trumps that was like, "Let's gonna go home with the same information." Like that could be a problem. Like as much as their idea for that moment, I agreed. It's like, it's kind of a hot button, opinionated. It's like, it shouldn't be discussed in school, at least to kids. I mean, the teachers, they're going to discuss it amongst themselves. That's one thing, but allowing things like that to trickle into the children, like now, rather than it feels like a historic kind of thing. This is what the history book says. He failed at that, or this went bad. Things of that nature.
I don't mind it being discussed.
Yeah.
Right. The challenge is when you're trying to push a specific narrative.
Yeah. Right.
I believe that because that's how young people are trained to have critical and complex dialogue.
Right. True.
Right.
True.
So I think it's important that these things are discussed to a certain extent, as long as it's in line with whatever you're teaching as part of the curriculum. Right.
I agree.
I think the problem we have is when people's personal positions cloud the conversation.
Okay.
Right. If you're going to bring the conversation up,
right,
have an expectation that there's going to be a differing opinion.
Right.
That's why the word debate is part of the dictionary, part of the language. It's a term. It's a word. That's why the word even exists.
Yes.
Because there's going to be someone that has a different disposition, a different perspective.
Right.
And you got to be able to entertain that.
Right.
And so in school, because you're in a position of authority, I think you have to be very careful.
Okay.
I'm in a position of influence because I'm a leader of a ministry, of a church, and so I have to be careful about my own personal position, as it relates to the Word of God, And so I have to be sure to let people know this is how I feel about a thing. This is what the Bible says. This is how I feel about it,
Yeah,
and then we can talk about it, I use terms like this is the Book of Brian. So people understand, and I think that and children, the challenge with our young people is that they will hear something different than what's taught at home, but a lot of cases when they're hearing it from another source, it's being delivered as law.
Right. Yes, that right there.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
And so now you created confusion in the mindset of the child. And now depending on the child's level of influence by their parents versus the level of influence from external resources, that determines the level of problem that you have or complexities that you have in communication with this next generation. So I think those are the danger zones. But the reality is, yes, children are being taught, in a lot of cases, taught something different outside the house than they're taught at home. The question is, how much of it are they taking in, absorbing, and applying?
Right. And I think we go back to that having that open line of communication. So, when an opinion is kind of being formed in their mind, they're at least talking it out, and it's not like cement slowly solidifying something and you don't have a clue until that thought for them becomes a fact. This is just, it's like, where'd you get that from? What? Who you been talking to? Especially having constant conversation, constant influence, and you never get any insight into them, this information being solidified. And you're just like, wow, wait. let's dig back to the beginning. And like you said, let's talk it out. Let's talk. Does that make sense?
That's why we have to be careful of what we what we expose our children to.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
Yes. Yes. Definitely.
when
Definitely.
I think about remember the story in the book of Genesis when Jacob's daughter Dinah
Mm-hmm.
was raped
Mm-hmm.
in Shechem,
Okay.
and so here's what happens. Jacob has his family in a land that is also occupied next door to by people of a different culture, of a different understanding, Shechem, right?
Yes.
And Jacob's daughter is out and about, and she looks upon with favor by the sons of one of the sons of Shechem,
Mm-hmm.
and he takes her and he rapes her.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
He wanted her, he takes her and he rapes her. Now, the whole lesson was for Jacob, because what happened is his sons got mad. They ended up killing the people who raped Dinah,
Mm-hmm.
right? There was a lot of trickery, and I'm trying to get somewhere with this. Y'all
Yeah.
know it takes me forever to get there. But the lesson was, because you were mingling with these people,
Right.
and it caused your family to loosen their commitment to what you've been taught, and you out there mingling with people who have been taught something else. You fell victim to their way of living.
Right. Right.
Right.
Right.
And you got mad. And I'm saying all that to say that we as parents, we must know that our children are going to be exposed to things.
Yes.
We have to be careful of how much we expose them to, but we
Right.
have to make sure that what we put in them is really in them.
Right. Right.
Right. So
Right.
when these other external influences become apparent, we don't succumb to that, because our children will be victimized because they're out there and they've gotten too close to something that is not consistent with what they've been taught or trained.
Right.
You know, like we're getting ready to release our 18-year-old to college.
Right. Right.
She's getting ready to,
Right.
there's a lot of influences out there.
Yes.
And our prayer is that we have put enough in her
Right.
that she is comfortable and confident with what she's been taught, so that she does not succumb to external influences that are inconsistent with what the values that she's been taught.
Right.
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 So yes, the stuff is going to be out there. To teach someone something means they're going to either receive it or they're going to reject it.
Right. True.
My hope is that you get what's good for you and reject what's not good for you.
Right.
And so that was one of the lessons in the book of Genesis. They just got too close, and they started intermingling with other teachings, and they fell victim to those other teachings, and they had to pay the price for it.
Right. And to that, I think about, so I'm like your daughter's getting to that space where she's going to be gone away from you guys, and the prayers what I put in her will protect her, and she'll keep it in mind as she makes decisions and the people she comes in contact with. Do you think that she will communicate any contrary views to you guys if she hears it? Because for me, that would be my hope, that everything my children come in contact with that's contrary to what we've been living or what they were taught, that we can at least have a discussion before you buy into it, at least hear it, even because, people are very good at making things make sense when you don't have enough information to refute it. You just like, that kind of, yeah, until you talk to somebody else like, oh, I didn't think about that part. So, do you I know that for me, that's my hope, that when my children leave or away from the home, and in the stages of becoming a full adult and taking care of their own, that they will at least consult me as they're dealing with contrary information or even new information, like call you, Dad, I got this opportunity. I'm going to this meeting, or I just went to this meeting, and oh my gosh. And I know for me, I'm like, hold on. They told you about freedom, didn't they? Give you that time. Give you, like I run down the whole line, like, yeah, that's what they told me.
Yeah.
But you just got to call your friends and family, and just even something as simple as that, especially if they're working, they got money, they got their own money to invest in something. You can just, and hopefully they would call me, but please tell me you didn't sign anything yet. Just let me know. I don't want to discourage you from it, but let's talk about what the opportunity is, and let's be realistic about, are you really going to be able to make money from it? And things like that. Because like we talked about before, the imagination, being able to see past our limitations. So I wouldn't want to shoot them down, because like I said, like for me, I know at least two multi-level marketing companies that work. They work, they may not make you $1 million, but they work. You'll make money, but it just depends on the model and all that good stuff. But have the conversations. So
even what you just said right there. So you were talking about me and didn't even realize it, because as many commercials, if you are stuck in a timeshare, call this number,
Right.
And then after hearing all that, I bought a timeshare.
Right.
And you saying, well, I hope you call me before. I'm like, I didn't call anybody. Right.
You said that. Sat at that table, and they did the circling. They said, okay, can't do that.
And
do this.
It's happening.
Right.
And I'm looking at my wife like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. And then a year later, like, what were we thinking? What? So what I guess my point is,
yes,
it's going to happen.
Right.
But your hope, your prayer, your confidence should be in the fact that that you taught them well.
Right.
My children, they hear things. They don't come to me with everything.
Right.
But they've proven to me that they know how to make a decision.
Right.
If Brienne has a question about something, or even my oldest, Taisha, has a question about something that goes beyond her level of comfort, she's gonna call. Right. But they know, like at this point, I've had conversations with Rachel. She's been in the workforce here in the last year. She's had some experiences getting out of the house and being a growing teenager. She's been put in situations. She comes home and she starts talking about what she went through, and she starts talking. I'm like, oh my God. And I got to sit and I got to listen. And I'm hoping and praying that she responded the right way. Right.
It's like, so what did you do?
And I learned that she didn't.
Right.
So I can't go off.
No.
I have to tell her, sweetie, when things like this happen. It would be wise to consider these things. Right. Let me enlarge this perspective a little bit. Let me broaden this a little bit for you. And let's talk about, how this could have played out. You understand?
Yes, indeed.
And so there's two things going on. Number one, she realizes that, maybe I could have thought differently. And so hopefully the next time she will think differently. She'll think deeper about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing is, it's okay to come and say something. Right. Because how you react, how you respond to it will determine whether or not they tell you the next time.
Right. That's that right there.
And because I'm over 50. I'll be 54, and I deal with grown folks, 30 and 40 years old, that are telling stuff that happened when they were 18, 22, and they never had the courage to say it out loud, and they're just now saying it. They're just not getting past it, and they're 40 years old. And so those are the things that I'm trying to mitigate. I'm trying to avoid. With my children. Make sure you feel comfortable opening up your mouth and saying something, no matter how ugly it is. Let's talk about it. So as they get exposed to this new information, two things are happening. They're either going to be comfortable and confident enough in what you put in them to say, "Nope, I ain't got nothing to do with that. That's not my world. I don't. I hear you, but I'm just not interested." Whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
Or that sounds interesting.
Right.
Let me check my resources.
Right.
Let me go validate. Let me talk to somebody that I trust.
Right.
More than I trust you.
Right. Right. Especially, things that they hear, or because I'm like, I get it. I don't think I've ever heard of that or known of that. But like I said, let me check my sources, my resources, and we'll come back and at least talk about it. Before you make a decision, before you do something, it sounds good coming out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Let's check all of the facts. Let's take a full view of it. And those decisions, you're right. Like like you said, you're looking for how do they react to a situation, or how do they react when someone said such and such, and you're hoping for the best. And if it doesn't happen, you're right. Your reaction shows how they respond next time. Because if you go off the handle, it's like, I'm never going to tell this dude anything else. We're never going to have this conversation ever again. And, I'm going to just figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
and I think getting to that is where we don't want to be. And I always try to keep that in mind. It's the responses, to when things happen, for me, only with my kids, it's like going through the steps, like trying not to go off the handle, like, earlier in the years, I was like, okay, I need to kind of rein it in. Let's go in steps before you get there. Let's try to be civil, have the conversations, let's bring the anger down.
Man, if I had $1 for every time lady has said to me, honey, you that was a little harsh.
Right.
Honey, you have to hear what she's saying.
Right.
How is she ever going to be comfortable?
Right.
If like you hear the wrong part and then you get upset.
I'm already there.
Yeah. Yeah, like she starts talking and within 30 seconds I'm on pin. Like, he did what? You wait, they said what? What did you do? What?
Right.
Okay, lovely. Okay.
Okay. Right. Those reactions.
Because we, you want to protect them.
Yes.
Yes. You want to shield them.
Yes.
But you don't want to cripple them.
Right.
That's the thing. You have to give them room to express and think and all of that stuff. And that's the stuff that you have to learn. And that, I don't care what anybody says, man.
Right.
You can never perfect that because it's driven by sheer emotion.
Right.
You threaten somebody that I love, or, or you even, if it even appears, you have to quickly check yourself emotionally.
Right.
So that you can respond with wisdom. In spirit, right? And I haven't perfected that yet.
Right. No,
I gotta stay in my word because we want our children. We want them covered. We want them safe. We want them protected. We want all of these things. But sometimes the biggest detriment to them is us.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. I think. Because we can instill a fear in them about certain things and doubt, and then we wonder why either they won't take risks in some places or they won't do certain things, and we've instilled in them this fear, of doing certain things, and it's crazy, because you, like you said, you want to protect them, but you don't want to limit them. It's like, how do I mitigate, right? The protection and the limitations, because I want you to be able to do all things, great things. But things take risk, and if
don't make any mistakes doing it.
Right. Take the risk, but don't mess it up.
Yeah, I love people who say, "I have no idea how to do that."
Right.
You ever sit in a training session? Ever sit in a classroom? and you're listening to this information and you understand it, and then somebody raise their hand and says, I don't understand anything you just said. Right?
Yes.
And you're like, this dude right here.
You ain't been listening.
Yeah. I've learned I've learned to love that person.
Right.
You know? Now I don't get it. I don't get it. I need more information.
Right.
I've learned to appreciate that person because the Bible says in all thy getting, get an understanding.
Right. They won't walk away not knowing. They won't
and like one of the things with young people, you know, you don't have to go along just to go along, you know, go along to get along. And you don't have to be the expert at everything. Right. You don't have anything to prove to anybody.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
And it's okay to need help. It's okay to ask questions.
Yeah.
Right. Something sounds strange. Ask for clarity.
Right.
Something sounds odd. Something sounds inconsistent with what you've been taught. Get more information.
Right.
Right. So that when you bring it home, you have a full story.
Right.
You have a full package of information, right? Because there's nothing worse than somebody being told something that sounds off,
right?
But they didn't ask any questions. They don't have all the information. You brought one little point home, and there was a broader perspective that was presented to you that actually makes sense. But you brought one little piece that makes no sense,
right?
And there's nothing to connect it to. So you send your child back to school saying, "Nope, not true." And then the child looks like an idiot because everybody else in the classroom was paying attention. They heard the whole story.
Right.
Ooh, yeah. So we have tried to encourage our children to get all the information.
Right.
You know, get as much. Did you ask the teacher a question? Did you follow up? Did your child comes home with half an understanding of an assignment.
Right.
Well, what are we supposed to do here? You didn't bring home enough information.
Right.
You know, you committed to a deadline, and we don't even have all the information.
Right. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I hate. Yeah, you sit there struggling, like, okay, we don't. I feel like we're missing something. Like, I feel like we don't have enough of the information. Like, this ain't enough to go on anything. Like,
right.
And then they looking at you like, well, I don't know.
Right. Well, the teacher said I need to build a globe,
right?
And it's got to be turned in by Friday.
Well,
what materials are you supposed to use to build the globe? What did they say? They just said build a globe. That's all the teacher said was build a globe. That's all they put on the board.
Right.
The only thing the teacher put on the board is build a globe.
Build a globe.
Really? Really? That's all they said. Build a globe. They didn't say put nothing on it. They didn't say use these materials. You know,
just build it.
No qualifiers. Just build a globe. Child, if you get yourself back to that school and ask a question.
Right. You know? Oh man. But yeah, those moments of learning, of growing, and teaching. It's the inquisitiveness. Remember we talked about yesterday, the asking the whys, the why. Ask questions till you get understanding. Ask questions till you have the like I get it now. I get it. But you're right though. Sometimes but then I'll admit in the meetings they start asking like, I missed everything you just said. And you're like, oh, we're about to be here another hour.
But I think so there's a difference between you missed it because you were texting on your phone.
Right. That's true too.
Or you just didn't understand. You know, maybe there was a phrase, a word, a term, or something that you skipped, you missed, and you threw everything else off. Yeah. You know. Right. You know, you'll never be able to divide. You'll never be able to work fractions if you didn't master addition and subtraction.
True.
Right.
True.
And so as parents, we have to pay attention to those types of things. Sometimes our children will come home with a narrative and they completely omitted the first chapter.
Right.
You know,
right.
You got the story, but you don't understand the plot.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So we got to think about that. And again, it's up to us as parents to understand that. So I think that so to the point of, are your kids being taught something different than what's taught at home? Yeah. Absolutely. There's always going to be a case where they're being taught something different than what they've been taught at home. But they have to understand the difference in what's being taught and why it's different. Because different does not equal wrong.
Right.
It doesn't always equate to being wrong. different is different sometimes.
Right.
And as parents, that's something we have to understand.
Yeah.
Just because it's different doesn't make it wrong.
Right. Right.
You know,
right.
I can't tell you the number of times children come home and tell their parents something that sounds different, and the parents says, "Oh, your teacher's an idiot."
right.
You know, and now the teacher has lost the ears or the attention of the child because you just called the teacher an idiot.
Right. Walking that fine line.
Yeah.
Walking that fine line.
Because your child is more influenced by you than they are by anybody else. Yes. And now you just made your teacher an enemy to your child.
Yes. Right.
And now the teacher can't reach your child because the teacher says something different than what you teach at home. Not that it's wrong, but that it's different. But because it doesn't line up with you've labeled it wrong. Now it's wrong to the child. Right. That's why we deal with racism today.
Right.
Oppression is alive and well today because different equates to wrong or inferior.
Right.
You know, and that's the danger of parenting also. That is a danger in parenting, is not understanding that different is not always wrong. It's just different.
Yes, indeed. Speaking of different, tonight at 7:00 is Solid Temple.
It's going to be a different individual online tonight.
There you go. With Pastor Brian A. McCory Sr. So make sure you guys check it out. We'll be right back after this. Yeah, and we're back. Also, we're just gonna bust them out tonight. Also, after Bible study, we have the Sisters of Legacy. They'll be making it happen, discussing all things that the ladies are dealing with, any issues and situations. I think they may be talking about overcoming blocks and stumbling blocks in their life, something to that effect, if I might be correct. But might be corrected later. But we'll be right back after this. So yes, let's do this, do that, and do that. And make sure you join our community. Text LWN to 84576. Join our community. Text LWN to 846. And make sure you're part of all things Legacy Walker Network and never miss an episode. So yeah, we're talking about, are your kids being taught something different than what's taught at home? And yes, we've kind of answered, and how to kind of to mitigate through the information. And Pastor spoke on something very, very pertinent when it comes to when your children receive information that may be just different than what you're taught at home, being able to have the conversation without totally discrediting the source. Because, when you discredit a teacher for your children, especially at the younger age, they go to school now not trusting what the teacher says at all,
Right.
and not receiving the teaching, the curriculum, the reason that they're there, and it may become a harder struggle because now they're side-eyeing every little bit of information that comes out of their mouth, as opposed to having the conversation about that one piece of information that may be a little contradicting to your household, and just speaking in respect for the teacher, not totally calling them dumb. They don't know what they're talking about, because, then kids take that information and just, that's what the teacher is. They're dumb.
Yeah.
And they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, I think one of the struggles, and I know a lot of parents had struggle with, when the math kind of changed or how they came to the answers. That was probably one of the biggest challenges, like looking at my kids like, what are you doing? And I'm all with the ups and downs and the remainders, and they're like, no, you got to break it down. And then one day I think they had at the school where we we were in the classes for the day, actually watching the teachers teach. And then my wife, who's really good at math, was looking at how the teacher was doing it, was like, oh, this is how I do that in my mind. She's like, this is kind of how I think about it, but I just write it differently. And the teacher was able to say, yes, we've learned that people that are good at math, this is how they do it in their head. So this is why this new math has started. I was like, I got some understanding. I get it, because my math skills aren't like that. So I was like, I don't see it like this, so it finally made sense, but for the years of trying to understand why the teachers, and I get it, because they learn new style. They learning like, this is a better way to teach. This is a better way to do. It's just for us, like, and then with the home, you just like, it's hard teaching it this way consistently that the teachers teach, because I don't know that way,
Yeah.
But we come to that understanding. We get to the same answer. We just doing it differently, and for your kids to do well in school, it's like, you got to do the way the teacher does it, because that's what they're grading you on. I can't teach you my old school way, because you're gonna fail the solution part. You're gonna get it right, but they're like, you're not doing the work right. So it's those things that we have to be mindful of. We have to be careful of, because I was like you. Well, I won't say like you, Pastor, but kind of like your answer. Yeah, these teachers are dumb. They don't know nothing. And discredit, because like you said, the more times than not, the kid looks at for you as the highest authority. You're my highest authority. So what you say becomes my rule. So we have to be mindful of how we speak of things, how we speak about certain things, and how we raise our kids. Because how we
clarity, though, I didn't say I called the teacher an idiot.
Oh no.
Like that's what we do as parents, but I meant like, in general, that's what we typically would do.
Yeah,
I can't call a teacher idiot. I'm the son of a teacher.
Right. Make that clear. Yeah. Let me make that clear. Man. Yeah, so it's important how we relay what others when they receive information from another authority, even if it's friends or family. You want to make sure you show respect, because when you show any level of disrespect, that's then how the child's going to treat that adult, because they just like the disrespect kind of trickles. You don't mean it that way, because I always talk about the moment my dad had an issue with one of his friends, and I can see it. So when he came over, I'm like, yeah, we don't like this dude. So he comes to the door. He comes to the door, and I leave him outside. I'm like, Dad, his name was Mr. Payne. Mr. Payne is here. He looked at me like, man, if you don't let him in, I was like, I thought we weren't cool with him.
Right.
He ain't like him. Right. So it's all about, continue. If these people are in your circle or in your world, even if there's a contrary view or thought, we have to maintain the respect for that adult. Have to maintain like, yeah, they weren't really correct on that. So you correct them in that piece of information, but you make sure they're not discredited, because your children are going to treat them as such. Like, oh yeah, you just dumb. I'm not listening to you. You know.
Yeah. You got to be careful. It's an age. It has to be age appropriate.
Yes.
How you deal with your children
right.
has to be age appropriate.
Right.
And especially when it comes to managing different personalities. You know, you don't like someone and you express that to your child, and you forget that your child will repeat exactly what you said.
Right.
You know. Right. Back in the day, you know, when you had the phone on the wall with the cord, you know, bill collector call. Tell them I'm not here.
Right.
Hello? Yeah, we're trying to reach Shirley McCrory. My mama said to tell you she ain't here.
Right.
You want to look, I can very easily find out how you feel about me just by engaging with your children.
Right. Woo.
Yeah.
Like that just sit people looking like, ooh, yeah, because you know that's why you got to follow that old school rule. You know, you start having them conversations. You got to send the kids out. So you get out this room. Go or someone else is about to start. Like, you know, Pastor, hey, y'all need to leave. Y'all need to leave. Because one, I don't need y'all with that on your head.
Just so they can go on the other side of the door and be like this.
Ooh, what they saying? Ooh, what they saying? Oh man.
Me and my wife have had our faces broke with our daughters saying, you're saying something, and we'd be like, where you get that from? We live here. Like, who told you that?
Who told you that?
You. When did I tell you that? When you was talking to mommy?
Right. Yes. You know, stop listening to grown folk business.
Yeah. The walls are thin, Daddy.
Yeah, right.
My daughters have admitted standing outside our door. Oh no, because we were standing outside the door trying to listen.
Wow.
He's like, they really do that?
Right.
We look at each other like, oh Lord, they really do that.
Right. The words are going in your head like, gosh, what have they heard?
What have we said?
What are they? In the bedroom, you say everything. This is where we get everything out.
Just unfiltered. Get you in trouble, Jack. Yeah.
Oh man, that's hilarious. All right, guys, we appreciate you guys rocking and hanging with us. It's still your opportunity to share. It's been a great conversation. We're gonna have a third party come through. I think E should be here tomorrow. We're gonna be talking about the parent-teacher responsibility, and what's our responsibility for getting our kids to the level of success and learning. And what's both of our responsibility, and what should we do, and some of the tactics, some of the techniques, and things of that nature. So make sure you stay tuned. Share with a teacher. Get them in the building. I know we got Mama McCrory in the building. Share with some other teachers and parents, because these are conversations we need to have. We need to discuss and get them out in the open. And it's very important. Very important. All right. So we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Appreciate you, Mama McCrory. And hanging with us. Make sure you stay safe. I think I've gotten used to just saying wear the mask, but you know what your safety zone is like. Do what you need to do. Keep your family safe.
And wear your mask.
Wear your mask.
Because the Delta variant ain't thinking about your vaccine.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. All right. So we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow, same time, same channel. Be safe. Know that we love you, but God loves you more. And that's it. All right. And listen, if you're watching this on replay, if you watch the whole thing, make sure you put #replay. So have an opportunity to know that you watched this after the fact. And if you missed any episode, make sure you check out the podcast. Just type in the Brothers of Legacy on any of your podcast app. Leave a review, and leave a review. I definitely appreciate that. It helps with algorithms and all that great stuff and showing up. All right. So we look forward to seeing you tomorrow, same time, same place. Take care.
I didn't want to catch
Good
that.
morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another edition. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What's up, everybody?
This episode is brought to you by StreamYard. Ready to go live? Go to bit.ly/StreamYard BOL. That's bit.ly/StreamYard BOL. This episode is also brought to you by Self. Build credit now. Go to bit.ly/now build credit.